to desire. The starting point of all achievement. Most people say they want success. Very few are obsessed with it. Napoleon Hill makes something unmistakably clear in Chapter 2. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Not interest, not curiosity, not preference. Desire, and not weak desire. Burning, definite, structured desire. Hill opens this principle with one of the most powerful contrasts in the book, the difference between wishing and demanding. A wish is passive. A wish leaves room for excuses. A wish says, if it happens, great. Desire says, it must happen. The people Hill studied were not casually interested in wealth. They were consumed by it. They were specific. They were committed. They were relentless. Desire is not emotional excitement that fades in a week. It is sustained intensity, directed at a definite outcome. The problem is that most people never define what they want clearly. They say things like, I want more money. I want financial freedom. I want to do better. Those statements sound ambitious, but they are vague. And vagueness produces weak results. Hill insists that desire must be definite. He gives 6 practical steps to transform desire from a vague wish into a structured force. First, fix the exact amount desired. Not a lot of money. Not comfortable. An exact number. Why does this matter? Because the brain cannot organize around ambiguity. When you define a number, you give your mind a target. Targets create focus. Focus drives behavior. Without a clear number, your effort drifts. Second, decide what you will give in return. Hill is direct about this. You do not get something for nothing. Wealth requires exchange. Time, skill, service, leadership, innovation, persistence. When you decide what you will give, you shift from entitlement to contribution. That shift alone changes how you operate. Third, set a definite date. A goal without a timeline becomes fantasy. A deadline creates urgency. Urgency sharpens action. It forces prioritization. When you attach a date to a financial target, your thinking changes. You begin measuring decisions against time. You begin eliminating distraction. Fourth, create a plan. The plan does not have to be perfect. It has to exist. Hill emphasizes beginning immediately, even if the plan is incomplete. Action clarifies direction. Waiting for certainty delays progress. Fifth, write it down. Writing transforms thought into commitment. When your goal exists only in your head, it is easy to negotiate with. When it is written clearly, it becomes real. Sixth, read it daily with emotion. This is where psychology enters. Hill understood something most people ignore. Repetition programs the subconscious. And emotion strengthens repetition. When you read your written goal with intensity, belief begins to form. When belief forms, behavior shifts. Desire is not maintained through logic alone. It is reinforced through emotional rehearsal. This chapter introduces a crucial psychological principle. Emotion and repetition program the subconscious. 2. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between imagination and physical reality when emotion is strong. It responds to what is dominant and repeated. If you repeatedly focus on scarcity, you condition scarcity thinking. If you repeatedly rehearse a clear, emotionally charged goal, you condition ambition. Desire becomes powerful when it is repeated consistently. Hill is not describing magic, he is describing conditioning. You become what you rehearse. If you rehearse doubt, you build hesitation. If you rehearse certainty, you build confidence. Desire must be fed daily. One of the clearest lessons in this chapter is that clarity creates direction. Without clarity, effort scatters. With clarity, effort concentrates. When you know exactly what you want, when and what you are willing to give in return. Decisions become easier. Distractions lose power. Opportunities become visible because they are measured against your target. Desire organizes perception. Most people drift because they never define their destination. Drifting feels busy. It feels active. But it lacks direction. Hill's 6 steps force precision. Precision creates momentum. There is another subtle but important insight here. Burning desire changes identity. When you define a financial target clearly and commit to it emotionally, you begin to see yourself differently. You stop identifying as someone hoping for improvement and start identifying as someone building something specific. Identity drives behavior. If your goal is weak, your behavior will be inconsistent. If your goal is specific and emotionally reinforced, your behavior aligns with it. Desire is not about intensity for a week. It is about sustained focus over time. And that focus must be structured. That is why Hill does not leave desire in the abstract. He gives structure to it. Number, date, plan, written statement, daily repetition. 2. Without structure, desire burns out. With structure, desire compounds. There is also a discipline component here. Reading your goal daily may sound simple. It is not. It requires consistency. It requires emotional engagement, even when results are not visible. That daily repetition builds resilience. When setbacks occur, your written goal reminds you why you began. When doubt appears, your repeated declaration stabilizes your thinking. Desire without reinforcement fades under pressure. Reinforced desire strengthens under pressure. This chapter teaches that wealth creation begins internally before it appears externally. Before income changes, thinking changes. Before opportunity expands, identity expands. Before results grow, clarity grows. The person who knows exactly what they want moves differently from the person who vaguely hopes for improvement. So the application is direct. Do you know your number? Have you decided what you will give? Have you set a deadline? Have you written it down? Are you repeating it daily with emotion? Or are you still wishing? Chapter 2 removes ambiguity. It replaces hope with structure. It replaces drifting with direction, replaces casual interest with definite obsession. Because desire is not optional in wealth creation. It is foundational. Without it, every other principle weakens. With it, everything gains momentum.